Right, cool. And now we go over to Apple TV Plus and their offering, which is a show called Severance. This is a show that comes from Ben Stiller. Well, Ben Stiller is he's one of the major pushers behind it. And I'm not sure what you think about Ben Stiller or whether you like him or not like him, but the whole idea behind Severance is that you live in a world where someone has invented a process or procedure which they call severance, which is they put a chip in your brain and it severs the connection between your work life and your home life. So when you're at work, you only think about work, and when you're at home, you don't even know what you did at work. So everything you've done at work is secret. If someone kidnapped you in the street and said, "Tell me what it is, give me the secrets," you wouldn't be able to tell them because you don't know what it is you've done at work. All you know is that you go to work every day, you go into a lift, and then next thing you know, at 9 a.m. you're going to the lift. At 5 p.m. you wake up in the lift. That's all your consciousness knows. But it means that your consciousness that's at work, and this is something that when I heard it, I was like, okay, cool, I can see this work-life balance, probably like a workplace satire or something like that. That idea kind of makes it almost sounds attractive. But then the flip side is that you've pretty much given yourself a whole new personality, and your work personality never leaves work. So
Right.
imagine if you're a human being and you are at work, you wake up in the morning and you're at work, you fall asleep, you're at work, you wake up, you're back at work, and it goes into really interesting questions about what that would do to a psyche, what that would do to a person. So at the beginning of the show, you have a new recruit called Helly who is brought into this group. Like then it's like even the people at work, they don't know what it is that they do. They move numbers on a computer into a box. That's it. What are they doing? They don't know what they're doing. They don't know why they're doing it. That's just what they do. They just know that. They just know that they call them outies and innies. They know that the outie made a decision at some point that I'm going to have this procedure and I'm going to put you in there. So the outie and the innies actually think of themselves as two separate people.
Right.
Like they yeah. So these people are pretty much giving themselves a split personality, and you go through a character called Helly, played by Britt, and she's new to the group, and she's the one asking all questions like, "Why did we do this?" She keeps going, "Why would my outie do this to me? Why would somebody lock me up in a jail in a place that I cannot leave?" While and there's even bits where they record messages from the outies record messages for the innies to read, and the innies record messages for the outies, and it's really interesting saying, okay, what would happen, and why would something that would sound like a good idea to separate your work and your home life to help you give you more balance? Why would somebody do that procedure? What was behind it? There are all these questions that I think are really, really interesting. It's 9 episodes. It has a great cast. It has Adam Scott, as I said, Britt Lower. It has John Turturro. John Turturro is in it. Christopher Walken is in it. Patricia Arquette is in it, and
Oh, it's
it's
a biggies then.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's Apple TV Plus. They have money. They get good people in, and but and I think it's really, really interesting. I think the way it goes into this sort of the way it goes into the philosophy of it is quite good. The one thing I have against it is that it ends. You have 9 episodes. You're trying to figure out what's going to happen here. It goes into a little bit of, and I feel like the interesting ideas is one of these things a bit like Lightyear, where you have interesting ideas, but you need to put a structure to it, and then the structure becomes almost a bit almost a formulaic of what we're gonna do, and it kind of becomes almost like a prison breakout film, and it's like how are we gonna break out? How's that gonna go on? And then it ends the first season of the show ends on a massive cliffhanger. It ends on a massive cliffhanger, which I detest. I'm like, no, no. You mean this is not the full story? You haven't given me the full story. So if you do watch Severance, just be warned. It's nine. Yeah, you're gonna watch it for 9 hours, and it's gonna be a cliffhanger. It's gonna be a cliffhanger. It's like come back next season to find out what happened, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna come back unless I know that season 2 does not end on a cliffhanger. I might not be back. But I thought it was really, really good. I would give it a 4 out of 5. I thought it was actually really, really. I thought it was a good show. I think it's a good show. Great premise and interesting things get asked about through that. So 4 stars for Severance on Apple TV Plus. Sharon, seeing as you've seen haven't seen anything, would you want to ask any questions about that?
Yeah, I saw the thumbnail for Severance, but I couldn't quite work it out what it was about because often these thumbnails don't give you any real clues, and the description you're thinking often it says this is a thrilling drama starring so and so. I
Yes,
think
I
you've
know.
told me exactly nothing about.
It's like, oh, if you say so yourself. It's like,
Yeah,
we have given you a thrilling drama. It's like, if you say so yourself.
yeah. And you think so? Thank you. Yeah. So I wasn't sure whether it was science fiction, whether it was um ironic, or whether it was, yeah, or The Office. I wasn't.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't really quite work out what it was. So that's interesting to give. So to say, well, that's about. That sounds like an absolute nightmare to me, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the best things about the show is because when I started watching the show, I was like, yeah, that's not that big. That's not a big a deal. But they get across to you quite quickly how nightmarish this is and how it's like George Orwell on steroids. How much of an idea this is like George Orwell on steroids,
Yeah.
and but they also get across to you that there's people who support this plan and who want to make this plan work. Because I can imagine, I mean, like the NHS, I imagine the NHS would love this. The NHS would love Severance. They'll be like, yes, yes, shove it in their heads, quick, put it in there. But yeah, but I can recommend it as long as you are warned that there's not particularly a resolution.
Tormenting ending.
Yeah, it's a cliffhanger. I hated it. I hated that ending. But 4-star show, 4-star show.